as some of you may know, I am German. Yes, this weird accent that I have that I think is pretty German, but some people think might be not German, whatever. This weird accent is German, yeah. And we don't use the QWERTY. In Germany, we say QWERTY. It's QWERTY. Layout for our keyboards. We use QWERTY. So we have the Z instead of the Y at the same position, you know. The same position, the Y is the Z, because we have the Umlaute, the RU and the SZ. It's sometimes really a struggle when you find wonderful, cute keycaps that only work for QWERTY, but not for QWERTY, because I need to use QWERTY in my everyday life. It's problematic. And I found a video, you're wrong about QWERTY. And now I want to know why I'm wrong about QWERTY. I don't know if it's going to be a video that agrees with me that I don't like QWERTY, because I also think it's very weird to type on, but might also be just because I can't type on it and I don't normally type on it. But it could also be like, oh, QWERTY is the most perfect one there is. So let's go. It is by Atomic Frontier. So let's go.
Typing with the worst keyboard on the planet, with its characters rearranged by artificial intelligence to cause me as much pain as possible. Along the way, I learned how QWERTY came to be, some of the pitfalls of optimization, and I even got a bit better at typing. However,
okay, this looks like hell, by the way. First of all, I wanted to say that. It looks like hell. I would never like to type on that.
But this was still a terrible idea.
Why though? Thank you so much for the video already.
Why our computer keyboards follow the QWERTY layout, rather than something more logical, like maybe A to Z. I had heard that it was to stop old typewriter keys from jamming, but that's not entirely.
I mean, I think there's also like a certain efficiency to it though, because what I am thinking, okay, is that the keyboard layouts are arranged like they are arranged because there's some combinations of letters that you use more often. For example, I'm not sure, but for example, in German we have the EI and the IE. So EI and IE. It's like, I think that's pretty common letter combination, or the SCH, so S, C, and H, or just the C and H. And I think if those were like very close together, it would just make the efficiency of writing maybe harder. But that's just what I think, that the layout was they considered in the layout, which letters do we need to use, like which letters are normally used in a very good combination, which ones do we need to put closer together, which ones do we need to make further apart, just so that the efficiency in writing is better. But I don't know, maybe they didn't even consider that, maybe they had other ideas, I don't know.
Highly correct. If you could ever point to the world's first keyboard, then this would probably be it. It's called the printing telegraph.
Okay, it's just
and it was invented in 1846 by the electrician R.E. House. Like with a regular Morse code telegraph, it can send long-distance messages along wires. But unlike with Morse code, which uses dots and dashes, this one could send entire letters.
Damn.
It's written out A to Z, which...
That looks very wild and very impractical.
Yeah, sort of does make sense, but is also incredibly inconvenient to use.
Yeah.
In 1855, pianist David Hughes took advantage of people's familiarity with piano keyboards to create this thing. Effectively, it's the house machine just folded in half.
Oh, that's actually pretty smart.
The black
but
key
why do the white keys start with the Z though?
These are the letters A through to N, and the whites O to Z. Now, the real thing didn't actually play music, but if it could, then the center.
But that also already looks not really similar. I mean, I don't have a QWERTY keyboard lying in front of me. I only have a QWERTY keyboard lying in front of me.
Since.
But keycaps are nice. They're very cute keycaps. Maybe I want my bones to be keycaps.
That. The next improvement came in 1868, when engineers Scholz, Glidden and Soule took apart one of these Hughes machines to use as their foundation for their typewriter. The rectangular piano keys were switched out for rounded buttons.
Yeah.
And the vowels pushed up to their own row.
Oh, yeah.
Symbols were...
But why the Y? Why are we also pushing up the Y?
added in, although the letters I and
And where's
O
the 1?
were made to double up as 1 and 0.
There it is. Sorry, I'm too fast and I'm always pausing and I know that, but sorry, that's just like, my brain is just like, question, I need to ask it now. Maybe they don't answer it in the video and I need to ask you now so that maybe someone can comment. Yeah, that's just my brain. I'm sorry.
The keys were pushed together and rows staggered to leave room for mechanical linkages. In 1870, the trio tried to sell this design to American Telegraph Works as a way of allowing their operators to transcribe messages rapidly. As an added bonus, the telegram would now actually be legible. American Telegraph loved this design, but asked for a couple of modifications to make things even faster. The letter I, moonlighting as the number 1, was moved next to 8, so that the year 1870 could be written rapidly. In Morse code, the letter Z is often confused with the sequence S, E. So those letters were moved close together. Frequently used characters were pushed to the easy-to-reach middle of row 2.
Oh, so it's not quite what I imagine, like letters that normally are like written together, but like frequently used ones. That also makes a lot of sense. Like R and T are also very frequently used. Yeah, that makes a lot of... Yeah. And vowels, obviously, are very frequently used. Yes.
While those used infrequently were moved to the edge. The fact
Where's the A, though?
you can now spell typewriter using just the second row
and there's
of a typewriter
QWERTY
was, of course, entirely coincidental. Soon, other manufacturers copied this design.
There it is.
Reasoning that if people were familiar with the Shoals layout, then they'd probably want to have something pretty similar. However, in order to avoid patent infringements, they needed to mix around a couple of the characters. Purely by accident, someone accidentally invented the QWERTY layout that today we know and love.
Damn.
Eventually, an agreement between the major manufacturers standardized things to QWERTY. And more than 125 years later, it's still being used on everything, from laptops and smart fridges.
But then I would be very interested how the layouts in other countries came to be, because like I said, we have the QWERTY layout in Germany. It's probably similar, like it probably has a similar reason behind it, but there is also like a different layout, for example, in French, like a French layout keyboard. Yeah, they have a different layout as well. No, yeah, they have a very interesting. AZERTY. They've got this layout. Let me show it to you. That's the French layout, apparently. AZERTY. But they also have like the very commonly used ones, because, for example, the Z is... I think the Z is way more used in French, isn't it? Wait a second. I need to see the... Yeah, the Z is... But is the Z that common in German? Do we use that much in German? I don't actually know. Weird. But I think the Z is pretty common in French, though. The T is also very common for French, yeah. But we also have that, yeah, QWERTY and QWERTY. Interesting. I'm wondering how those ones came to be, like in other languages, if they did like the same thinking. Or because like this doesn't even, there is like, it doesn't even look modified from the QWERTY. I mean, look at this. ZXCVBNM. WX, okay, there's an X at the same place. CVBN is at the same place, but then the M is moved up another. It's ASDFGHJKL, and we have JKL, HJ. Oh, so they basically only changed like this part, I guess. Like at first glance, it didn't seem like similar at all, but it is actually pretty similar now that I think about it. Interesting.
Eventually, an agreement between the major manufacturers standardized things to QWERTY. And more than 125 years later, it's still being used on everything from laptops and smart fridges to the clicky-clacky desk candy of r/mechanical keyboards. This process replicates what AI researchers like to call a hill climbing algorithm. We start out with a certain keyboard configuration, and then you, as an innovator, come along and make a small change.
Yeah.
If the change results in a worse keyboard, then no one will buy it, and your company goes out of business. However, if the change is beneficial, then people will buy it, and the next innovator who comes along will make a small change based on your improved keyboard design. Like climbing a real hill, we only ever take steps toward the top, and at the top of our keyboard hill is QWERTY. Unfortunately, one of the problems with this hill climbing approach is that by making small changes and getting a constantly better solution, sure, we might be able to get to the top of a hill, but chances are that there is an entire mountain just over there, which we
and we are not just seeing it, and there is a better layout, but because we're so used to the certain layout that we have right now, that we're not seeing like the best, like technically really best layout. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
never reach.
Yeah.
Because to get to that objectively better solution, we first have to climb back down.
Yeah.
QWERTY isn't just suboptimal. It might also be actively dangerous. I've got here a sort of heat map, with the blue and green keys the most popular, and the reds the least. QWERTY shoves a lot of the popular keys up top, which means that from their home position, your fingers really have to stretch in order to reach them. A lot of the stretching is diagonally, and your fingers and hands are being used super unevenly. Your left middle finger is being used way more than the right one.
But that is only if you know the 10-finger system. I don't really use the 10-finger system. I use like my own system, I guess. It's kind of like it's fast enough. I don't know. I have like this like I mainly use my middle, index, and ring finger. I use my thumbs for I basically only use my thumbs for the tap for the space. I don't know if I use my thumb. No, I only use my thumbs for space, and my small fingers, my pinkies, I only mainly use for the shifts and like if I have to reach a very far away key. But otherwise, I only use the other 3 fingers. I don't know if there's like, is it like an 6-finger system or something like that? Is there something like that? I don't know.
With this in mind, it perhaps comes as no surprise that keyboards cause nearly 500,000 injuries per year in the US alone. Most of these are from repetitive strain, but also from that one guy in Kentucky who attacked his neighbor with a typewriter.
What?
Not much you can do about attack typists, but given a blank slate, could we redesign QWERTY to reduce these injuries? And for that matter, could we make it so that it's so egregiously awful it gives you arthritis just by looking at it?
Yeah.
Only one way to find out.
Let's go.
To begin, we need to define what good and bad actually mean in the context of keyboard design.
By the way, I love that he changes locations all of the time. This is so freaking cinematic for a freaking video about keyboards. I love all about this. I love keyboards. I don't know enough about keyboards, but I love keyboards. There's this one mechanical keyboard that I really want. It's like a bread design. It's like a bun keyboard. It's like it's so cute, but it's a QWERTY keyboard. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it. I was thinking about getting it, and then just using this like blank. There are like blank ones for the Umlaute and for SZ and stuff. But I'm not sure if I should do it because there's like also some other small changes in like the between the QWERTY and the QWERTZ layout. So yeah, that's always a problem. There's so many cute keycaps, but they're all QWERTY, and I'm just like, I love mechanical keyboards so freaking much, and yeah.
This is what machine learning engineers like to call an objective function. My first assumption is that it's better if your fingers have less distance to travel. When you're typing out a letter, your fingers need to move to their new position, adding in a certain amount of distance.
Yeah.
My second assumption is that it's really annoying if the same finger has to move to multiple keys in a row. For example, typing out a full stop at the end of Romeo means that your right ring finger needs to move from the O to the stop. I also considered the relative annoyance of using each finger, which I tested out by seeing how many times each finger could click its home key in a minute. It turns out that my left ring finger is really terrible at this, and we'll see if that affects the optimization results later on.
That's so interesting.
Each of these factors so that they give an equal contribution to our final score, and I've scaled that score based on QWERTY.
Yeah.
Using these assumptions, alphabetical order is 1% worse than QWERTY, which makes sense, given that QWERTY is just alphabetical order with a couple of keys mixed around.
I would have expected it to be way, way worse, but interesting.
Ortholinear, where the keys are vertically arranged, scores 0.3% better than staggered, which is actually remarkably small. And because it's so hard to make and get an ortholinear keyboard, I've actually kept with staggered with most of my optimizations. Obviously, I'm not the first person to try optimizing keyboard layout using signs, and the most popular QWERTY alternative, known as Dvorak, based on letter frequency, gets a 26% improvement. That's
the dude who did it is probably Dvorak.
Fantastic, but I think we can do better.
26%.
If you were to
I am kind of, oh goodness gracious, I'm kind of tempted to have like a QWERTY keyboard. Or even look up if there's something similar for like the German layout, and just try arranging my keyboard in that. But you would also have to create like a new profile in your computer, wouldn't you? Because your computer has like the English, the German layout for the keyboard, like as a profile, but you would have to integrate a new one, right? Yeah. Would that work for like Steam and stuff as well? Yeah, I mean, it's only... Nah, would it? I'm not sure. Are Steam games using QWERTZ and stuff, or are they just using the keys that you're actually using? Like if you're moving WASD, are they actually looking at WASD, or are you looking at the positions of the keys? That would also be interesting.
And then line up every single possible keyboard permutation, then you'd form a row stretching from here in Boston to New York City. And then, around the observable universe, 500 billion times. Rather than getting an unpaid, overworked, sleep-deprived, caffeine-addicted PhD student to test out all those different keyboards.
That's why I'm not going to do my PhD exactly because of that.
Another option is to get the computer to do that for you.
Oh, is that
with what's called machine learning.
Is that oh gosh, what are they called? The spirals? Dang it!
Using a specific approach known as simulated annealing, which will hopefully prevent us from needing to test out all of those different options. In the world of material science, annealing is when we heat up a metal and then slowly cool it back down.
Oh! That's the same as in biology, because it was like, okay, the only annealing I know is like the annealing temperature of primers, and okay, it's not quite the same, but similar, because if you have a DNA strand, you have to heat it up first so that you can get rid of the hydrogen bonds, and then you have a certain temperature where the hydrogen bonds form again, and with primers are like the little teeny tiny pieces that have to be present at the start of a DNA so that it can be replicated. So in PCR, you have primers, and they have a certain annealing temperature where you have so you heat up, like very, very high heat, not too high, but very high heat to get rid of the hydrogen bonds, and then you have to cool it down to a certain temperature, which is the annealing temperature, so that the primer can anneal and form hydrogen bonds with the template DNA strand, and then you have an elongation temperature, so that the DNA strand can be replicated, so that you can make PCR and make a lot of DNA strands. So it's similar, and I don't know why I did tell you that, but I wanted to, and now you know more. Nice.
Which
hopefully
allows the atoms to gradually rearrange themselves in a more optimal, low-stress configuration.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to apply this same concept to keyboards. to slowly rearrange their keys and relieve the stress from our fingers.
Are we doing that with
We start out
learning?
with a random arrangement of letters and numbers, and a
nice.
simulation temperature of 500 degrees. It'll cool down later on, but 500 is where we start. Based on this current temperature, we're going to remove a certain number of keys. Since it's 500 degrees, let's say that's 5. We then shuffle them out, and we put them back in a completely new and randomized arrangement. After our shuffle, we compare the new keyboard.
And then you compared it. Yeah, okay.
Keyboard
That
to
was
the
so
old
cool.
If the new keyboard is better than the old one, then we'll keep it and use it as the basis of our next shuffle. In this way, it's the same as the hill climbing algorithm from earlier.
That's so nice.
If, on the other hand, it's worse, then the genius of the simulated annealing approach is that there is a chance we'll still keep it anyway. We tie this probability with the current simulation temperature. Near the start of the simulation, when temperature is high, there's a high chance that we'll keep a worse design. Whereas near the end of the simulation, when things cool down a bit, then the chance of keeping a worse design is much lower. Looking at this through the lens of hill climbing.
I love how much thought goes into this. That's why I love YouTube and I love videos and I love just creators that put so much freaking work into their freaking videos, and I'm just so baffled. It's so cool. Like the algorithm, also explaining the algorithm, obviously it's probably not just that, but putting the algorithm in a way that I can understand it, because I'm very bad at stuff like this, is just amazing. Very good work. Holy shoot.
It's as if we explored the base of lots of different hills, but then only ended up climbing the tallest mountain.
Yeah.
I wrote this out in code and had our objective function type out all the works of Shakespeare.
That's so
At the
cool.
start, we have big swings in score, as we're accepting pretty much all the different keyboards, even those that are definitely worse. However, over time, as the simulation cools, we have a more consistent increase, although still with the occasional dip back down. After 2 days of simulation time, we've got it. A keyboard that is 39% better than QWERTY at writing out all the works of Shakespeare. My right index finger has immediate access to the letter E, as well as other popular characters, and my left ring finger barely has to do anything at all.
Nice.
To get more insights, I also looked at other classic pieces of literature.
Yeah, that was also something I wanted to ask, because you just used Shakespeare. What about other other certain things? Could you do that for other languages as well? That would be so fun. You could use Faust from Goethe or something like that. It would be so freaking fun to do the same simulation with other languages, but I don't know if you want to do that or if that is way too much work. It's probably way too much work, but it would be so cool.
Every single comment this channel has ever received,
oh damn,
the top 100 Wikipedia articles of all time, and the script for the B-movie.
Oh, obviously B-movie,
This
obviously.
is our YouTube keyboard, Wikipedia, and the B-movie. Like with the Shakespeare keyboard, but unlike with QWERTY, the popular keys are almost always in the home row. Looking at finger frequency, you can see a definite bias for using my stronger fingers. Of course, the whole reason for using a keyboard is to write actual words, and it's here where we see the biggest improvement. Frequently used words like the in Shakespeare, internet on YouTube.
Oh, that would also, oh yeah, that makes sense, because technically for the Shakespeare keyboard you trained it on basically trained it on old-timey English, and you would need something there's definitely also gonna be a bias in what kind of language you're using, not just in language ways in English, German, French, but okay, are we having the baseline being Shakespearean language, Shakespearean English, or are we using, I don't know, Gen Alpha slang as the baseline? Yeah, sure, I didn't even think about that.
Edited with Wikipedia and Honey in the B-movie all see significant improvements. We can also play around with a couple of our assumptions. If you're writing a YouTube comment, then chances are you're on a phone, and optimizing for a 10-finger typing pattern is actually a bit silly. With just the thumbs, this is what our digital keyboard should look like. Optimizing for XY positions on the Wikipedia training set gives us this mess.
What is this?
AI has no respect for my joints. All of this is great, but completely disregards the fact that learning a new layout sucks.
Yeah.
To take this into account, I use the B movie to create what's called a Pareto frontier, which indicates the best keyboard layout for the minimum number of key changes.
Yeah.
If you can only make one switch, then E and J gives a full 13% improvement with basically no effort. But if you're a little more daring, then this 8-key version gets you all the way to a 31% improvement.
By the way, the keycaps are amazing.
So we've got the code and run it through its paces in creating better keyboards. But what if you wanted to make the world's worst?
Oh no.
Well, actually updating the code was remarkably simple. I just changed a greater than sign into a less than sign. However, I wanted to train on something that's a bit more personal than just all the works of Shakespeare. How often do I have to write out that? So instead, I took every single assignment that I've ever submitted for university, 3 years of email data, and I just tracked my key inputs for 2 weeks in order to create the greatest training set of personal data that has ever been made. And no, you're not getting a copy of it.
Dang it.
With a bit of training, we get this. The worst keyboard on the planet if you happen to be me. Writing on this thing isn't fun. On the evening of the first day, my tendons were sore, and after the first week, my left wrist was actively painful.
Why is the
Mentally,
backspace
it was a
up
bit of a
there?
challenge, and I could practically feel my neurons rewiring themselves.
Oh no.
Now, normally I'm pretty average at typing at 60 words per minute, but the new layout dropped me down to just 6. Over time, it did improve, and I could get to about 30 words per minute at the end of 100 days, but it's still...
You use that for 100... Do you want to suffer? You use that for 100 days. Okay. Dedication. That's damn much. That's so damn.
Still not great. I think overall a good analogy would be like wearing gloves. At the beginning, these were big, chunky gloves, making it really hard to type. But over time, my brain could mostly compensate, and writing became a bit more natural. There were exactly 2 benefits to this new arrangement. First, finding the key you're looking for is super easy, because all the popular characters are exactly where your fingers aren't. Another benefit is that it really gave my weaker fingers a workout. Normally, I prioritize just my pointer and middle finger, but now the others were being used as well. It's been 100 days and I'm back to QWERTY, but now I type using my entire hand. My left ring finger still sucks, but just that little bit less. At the end of the day, would I recommend fully optimizing your own keyboard? No, learning the remappings is incredibly painful. Did I leave a copy of the code in the description anyway for you to try yourself? Yeah. Of course I did. Let me know how it goes.
That is so cool.
In the meanwhile, I created an entirely edible, bird-safe version of the world's worst keyboard.
Please don't give birds bread. Please. That's obviously not bread. Please do it as he does. No bread.
Which I'm very much looking forward to throwing into the Charles.
Yeah.
Perhaps the geese can find a better use for it. This has been James Dingley from the Atomic Frontier. Keep looking up.
Damn, this video was so nice. Oh my goodness gracious. I hope you... I enjoyed this so much. Thank you so much for suggesting this. Holy shoot. This is amazing. I need to watch more of this channel. Holy shoot. Please, please leave a like, comment, subscribe on the original video. Please go there, subscribe, whatever. Like all of the search and stuff that is very important. Damn, it was so good. And if you like this video and my input, you can also leave a like, comment, subscribe on this video. Maybe check out my Twitch or whatever. Thank you so much. And comment what type of layout you use. Thank you so much and bye-bye.